Welcome to the U.S. Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. My name is Eric, Marine Corps veteran, and I'm an ASVAB Test Prep expert. In today's video, we'll practice using the Pythagorean Theorem to determine unknown side lengths in a right triangle. This will help you to prepare for the Mathematics Knowledge exam, which is one of the subject-specific sections of the ASVAB. Let's get started by taking a look at our first problem. The hypotenuse of a right triangle measures 15 centimeters. If its height measures 9 centimeters, what is the length of its base? All right, we have the base and the hypotenuse, and it's the height that we're looking for. So let's start by drawing out our triangle. That can help us to visualize the problem. There's our right triangle. Do our little box on there to denote that it's a right triangle. And let's see the information we have is the height is 9 centimeters. And the hypotenuse is 15 centimeters. So remember the Pythagorean Theorem, our little cheat code to remember that is ABC. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So let's fill in the information we have, and then we can figure out what to do from there. So if this is going to be A, and our base is going to be B, and our hypotenuse is always C, then we have 9 centimeters squared plus, and this is the one we don't know, so we'll just leave the variable in there, B squared equals 15 centimeters squared. Okay, perfect. So now what we need to do is we need to isolate this B squared onto one side of the equation. So the easiest way to do that is first we'll work these out, and then we'll subtract over to the other side. So let's work it out. 9 times 9, or 9 centimeters squared, is 81 centimeters squared. Plus, this is still B squared, because that's the one we're looking for. And 15 times 15, or 15 centimeters squared, is 225 centimeters squared. So now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 81 from both sides. That's going to give us B squared equals 144 centimeters squared. Now to get rid of this pesky square, we're going to take the square root of both sides. That's going to give us B equals 12 centimeters. 12 centimeters is our answer. Use the diagram below to answer the question that follows. What we have is a right triangle. We know that because it's depicted by this little box in the corner. And we have a base of 24 centimeters. So this will be our B. And a hypotenuse of 25 centimeters. That's going to be C. So that means this leg over here is our height, which we'll call A. So remember our Pythagorean Theorem formula. Remember the ABCs. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So let's start off by filling in the information that we're provided. So we don't have A squared, so we'll leave the variable there. Plus B is 24 centimeters, and square that, equals our hypotenuse is 25 centimeters, and we'll square that. So let's start by working out the information that we can. So we still don't know A squared, but we can figure out 24 centimeters squared. That's 576 centimeters. And 25 centimeters squared works out to 625 centimeters. All right, we're making progress. So now to isolate this A onto one side of the equation, we'll say A squared equals 625 centimeters minus, we're going to bring this over to this side, 576 centimeters. So now we've got this a squared all by itself. Now let's calculate what we can. A squared equals 625 centimeters minus 576 centimeters equals 49 centimeters squared. So now once again, all we have to do is get rid of this pesky square root and we are all set. Take the square root here and the square root there. And that leaves A equals 7 centimeters. So our height is 7 centimeters. And there's our answer. Use the diagram below to answer the question that follows. We have a right triangle. We can see that denoted by this little box in the corner with a height of 28 meters and a base of 21 meters. So our height we'll name A, our base we'll name B, and we don't know what the hypotenuse is. We're going to call it C. So our question is, what is the length of the hypotenuse of the right triangle? 32 meters, 33 meters, 34 meters, or 35 meters? All right, this is a perfect problem for the Pythagorean theorem. So let's remember our formula. Remember your ABCs. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. All right, we'll start by filling in the parts that we have. So we have A, that's 28 meters, and we'll square that, plus, and we have our base, which is 21 meters squared, equals C squared. That's our hypotenuse, and that's what we're looking for. All right, so let's calculate the parts that we were given. So 28 meters squared works out to 784 meters squared, plus our base, which is 21 meters. If we square that, we get 441 meters squared equals C squared. Well, this is pretty easy. We just have to add 784 plus 441. That gives us 1,225 meters squared equals C squared. Well, now all we have to do is get rid of this pesky power of 2, and we can take a square root of C squared to get rid of it, and then we'll do the same thing to this other side. The square root of 1,225 is 35 meters. And that is our answer. So our hypotenuse is 35 meters long. Here's our answer, 35 meters. Great job. Okay, that's the rundown on using the Pythagorean theorem to determine unknown side lengths in a right triangle. To recap, remember to draw out the triangle when the diagram is not provided. This will really help you to visualize the problem. To memorize this formula, remember your ABCs. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The study.com ASVAB course includes more information about what each subtest covers. The question content is really similar to what you'll see on the actual ASVAB, and practice test scoring is broken down by subtest to be used for line score calculation. That can really help you see where you stand. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment with any questions or topics that you'd like to see us cover, and don't forget to subscribe for more US military test prep content. I'll see you in the next video. You've got this.